Hello and welcome back to Watch More Football. I always, when I host this, I completely forget to check which episode we're on. But we are here for another episode of Watch More Football. Thank you, Cam. Episode 28. And we're here on the Genreverse YouTube video channel. It's a new channel, so make sure you subscribe to it and give these videos a like. Also check out the main Genreverse channel for any sort of film and entertainment news you might need, and the LRM online website for written entertainment news. Part of it written by our very own Cam Clark, who's one of the senior editors there. And we've also got Dave and Mick with us today as well. So this is the last episode we got before the start of the Euros on Friday. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then given myself and Dave had a chance to talk about our clubs for a while last week, we're now going to grill Mick and Cam on everything Newcastle.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
But
plenty to grill.
But yeah, I mean, if we start with the Euro starting on Friday, how are we all feeling? Are we getting the tournament buzz yet?
Not yet.
No. Okay.
I don't know. No. It's not like the old days when everybody had flags outside their houses. Nobody really gives a crap anymore. Won't be that until we win it, though.
Can't hear that at all, Mick. That's not worked at all.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be it's coming home, was it?
Yeah, no. Yeah, you can hear.
There we go. Copyrighted.
Right, that's official. It's official. Yeah, it's official. Football's coming home. So what we're going to do for the Euros is we're going to carry on our little predictions league, but we're doing it slightly differently. So UEFA themselves have put up a predictions competition where we can sort of predict and compare scores with each other. So what we've done is created a Watch More Football predictions league through the UEFA website, and what Kyle's going to do is put details of that in the description for the video with the join code, so that if you want to test your prediction metal against us, you can. I will personally give a shout out to anyone who finishes below me, because that is some effort.
Yes. Yeah.
Even
Kyle better at international football, though, Ryan, you know.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a crapshoot, isn't it? So, so what we've done so far is the tournament starts on Friday, and we've predicted the first round of matches leading up to Tuesday next week when we'll record the next episode. So if Kyle is able to bring up the image of our predictions for those matches. Any matches beyond obviously the England and Scotland games that are sort of...
Has Kyle joined in? Has Kyle joined in on this?
He's doing it.
I
have.
Okay, there we go. Kyle's in.
Where's his predictions? Don't hide them.
Well, I mean, I'll
Cam's
send
got
you
'em.
them later because we can't see what he puts on screen. But
They're all
Okay,
on
but
screen.
they're
I'll
up
send
now.
you
That's
an
good.
image.
That's
I'll
good.
send you an image.
So yeah, any matches jumping out to you guys?
Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Spain, Croatia.
Spain, Croatia, absolutely.
Yeah.
That seems like the best match.
I think I'm going to miss that one because I'll be on my way. Oh no, I won't. I was going to say I'll be on my way back from Germany, but that's next week, isn't it? So.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Of
Smug Ryan alert! I'm going to the England-Denmark match next week. I finally got tickets last week at the last minute. I've had flights and hotels
Let's hope
since
you're
September, but
an
yeah, I'm buzzing for
unlucky
that.
omen for your national team.
Don't forget to
got a
shave your
mix-
head.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be taking on the German police operation and everything with my
Run
dad,
about bare chested and drink loads of lager and stuff like that.
I like.
Well,
I like
it's
the
better
look of
going
Kyle's
to
prediction.
Denmark
Hobbit in the
than
fountains.
as the Serbia game anyway. I wouldn't be going to that
Yeah,
one. I don't
yeah,
think.
I mean,
But the Denmark fans will be cool. They'll
Yeah,
be like,
I singled that one out because it seemed like it was going to be the most open game and sort of the
Yeah,
most
Dave's devastated.
match day. And yeah,
yeah.
And you, Dave.
Dave's
Wow.
two favourite international
'Cause
teams, England.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Ryan's going
yeah.
to that game.
Yeah, it's the game I would have loved to have gone to, but the process to actually get to that stage is ridiculously difficult. So fair play,
oh,
Ryan.
it was a nightmare. Yeah. It basically, I went through a ticket ballot. I went through 2 resales, sitting on my tablet in the office, sort of waiting for a queue to get in, just for them all to be sold out. And then randomly last week, I got an email from UEFA saying, "No, there's some tickets available. Do you want them?" And 5 minutes later, bosh.
Good job you booked everything beforehand, really.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we were just going with my dad. We were just going to go to the fan park and see what that was about anyway. So we've got Spain versus Croatia. That's a quite big match, and that's in the group of death. Italy are playing Albania in the other match in that group. Poland, Netherlands could be interesting, although Poland's best player is
Poland
injured
don't put up
now.
a fight nowadays.
Yeah.
No, not without
Netherlands lost a few
Lewandowski.
players as
Yeah,
well.
especially
Though.
without
Netherlands,
Lewandowski.
Frankie de Jong is not going to make it, and there was someone else I saw is out the Euro
yeah.
team for the Dutch
Minus.
as well. So
Koop
Minus
Miners.
is gone.
Yeah.
So they haven't really got a midfield now, Holland.
They've called up Maatsen in replace of De Jong.
The other one,
I'm not sure about
Austria,
that one,
France
really.
could be interesting as well, because Austria are sort of one of those teams that they're not going to necessarily do anything massive in the tournament, but they seem like they could be one of the stories, I think, because of how Ralph Rangnick sort of turned them around since he's been there. So they could. They're playing France. They could maybe do something there, but.
I hope so.
The thing
Yeah,
is, some of the
good.
big teams sometimes have bad starts. Like Germany traditionally, they won't this time because they're playing Scotland, but Germany traditionally have bad starts in these tournaments, and then they still qualify and pick it up from there. Sometimes France do as well.
Cam, if it makes you feel better, you keep thinking that Germany are going to have a bad start.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, Tony Kroos
he has just-
was saying, look, we don't need to win this first game because we've lost the first game and still won tournaments before, and sometimes we have a bad start. So he was saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm thinking, mate, you're playing Scotland, you're winning this one. You know,
I mean,
that's what I'm thinking.
On top of that, Germany have been quite bad in tournaments since they won the World Cup.
Yeah. Have we not
Yeah,
got through
yeah,
the
they have.
knockouts every time or something like that?
No, we beat them in the knockouts in the last Euro. We beat them in the
yeah.
finals.
2-0, was it?
Yeah, or
We
round
have
16,
failed
I
to go
think.
through a couple of times, which is very
But yeah,
unusual for them
so the
if you
World
look
Cup
at their
in
history.
2018 and 2020, they were awful. I can't remember how they did in the Euro 2016, but I don't think they went far. So they might be due a good tournament, and obviously they're hosting it, so they'll want a good start on Friday against Scotland.
We've got an alright team as well.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah.
But yeah, obviously we'll be talking more about the Euros as the tournament goes on from next week. Let's get into Newcastle then, because it was an interesting season for Newcastle, and I think interesting season for Cam and Mick, grappling with a bit of expectation and rationalising a season against that at the end of it. I think. What were your guys' thoughts overall on the season? How did you guys rate it?
Just start, me or you, Mick?
You go for it, Cam. Go for it.
All right. So I would say that I think if you look at that last season, we overachieved, and I think everybody probably admits that we overachieved with our squad last 2 seasons ago. And a few teams that should have been where we were underachieved, like Liverpool, specifically probably them. I don't know if I would say Spurs underachieved. I don't think they did, but I think Liverpool certainly did, because they didn't. There was just that kind of end of the road for some of their players, so you always knew they were going to come back. So I never thought Champions League was going to happen, really. I think I predicted us coming third just because everybody else, all you guys, predicted that we would finish outside the Champions League, and I just wanted to be different. But I never realistically thought we would get Champions League again. So I was hoping being the fight for Europe is probably so I think we kind of met expectations, if you like, this year, in terms of when you look at our terrible injury record in the middle of the season, when we were playing the same 11 guys every week. They were knackered, and one of them was 17 and never played Premier League football before this season. I think we did okay. I don't think if you took Pep Guardiola or Carlo Ancelotti and let them manage the team, I don't think they would have get any more points, really. Maybe a couple. In fact, I would say that only for Carlo, because I think Pep would have just threw his toys at the pram and walked out at Christmas, to be honest.
Without the injuries, you'd have maybe finished top 4?
No, I don't. I mean, maybe if we didn't have the injuries, maybe if Tonali hadn't get banned for a year, and we had him. I mean, we don't know because we kind of never really got to see him at his best, so we don't know how he fits into the team. So it's really hard to say. If Wilson and Isaac were fit every game, if Barnes and Gordon were fit every game, and all that sort of stuff, I think and Tonali was there, I think we would have finished higher than we did. Don't know if we would have made top 4 though. When you look at,
well, I mean, you weren't that far off it, though, were you?
They were really high points, but the top 3 were really high points. I think the only one we would have had a chance of catching possibly would have been Villa. But Villa didn't really have the Champions League hassles that we had as well, so you've got to add that in as well. We had the group of death in Champions League. We really pushed, we tried our best in that, and kind of fell short a little bit again because of the injuries. In fact, most of our injuries came from, I think it was a game against Borussia Dortmund. So, you know, I don't know. It's possible, but with the injuries we got, I think finishing 7th isn't too bad. My biggest disappointment in the season is that I believe we should have finished 6th, because by the end of the season, when we did have some players back, I think we did bottle it a bit against Man United at Old Trafford. I thought we played very poor. That in the game against Brighton, who weren't really in good form. I think those 2 games were little must-wins. If we'd won them, we get 6th and we're in Europe next year, and it's Chelsea that would have missed out. And we never, and I think it's our own fault that happened. I don't think Brighton played fantastic or Man United played fantastic in that game against us. I think in those 2 games we were a bit poor and lost silly goals and missed a lot of silly chances as well.
Right, you could look at the rest of the other games as well, like against Forest at home, getting beat 3-0.
Yeah, but that was back when we had the bad injuries, though, Mick. You know, that I think
really.
Yeah.
Them are the home games. Them are the home games that you've got to win.
I think as well, it's one thing to have a lot of injuries. It's quite another thing to let Chris Wood score a hat-trick on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
making him look like prime
great that game though, didn't he? He looked like prime Maradona, honestly. In that game, he's one of his goals where he flicks it back.
Yeah,
you know?
It wasn't just hoofball and let him knock it in. He was running.
No, he did play well, which I don't think he does every game. But maybe it was that coming back to his old club. He wanted to do well. But
was it that acrimonious? He came in and did the job that he needed to do when he came in.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Was there any strong feeling about him leaving to Forest?
Not really.
Well, from the fans not wanting him to go, or for him?
Not really. It was more of a
any sort of stick.
Very much.
Yeah.
I think he knew the score. He was getting more money. He got the chance to play for us for a year. I think he was happy with that.
It was a thank you for your help.
That big a team again. To be fair to him, so. He's never going to play at a team bigger than us.
So if we go through the similar sort of questions to what you guys gave us last week, I guess me and Dave can swap. But we'll start with who's been your best player this season, not necessarily best signing, but best player. We'll go with Mick first because Cam's just had a big old run.
That's a toss up between Bruno and Gordon. Bruno's been instrumental. He's played 50 games out of 51. And he's been like a 7 or 8 out of 10 every game, pretty much as well. I don't think he's really had much of a bad game this season. And same with Gordon. Double figures for goals and assists, 21. Yeah, last year, people were humming and hawing about him and the price tag. But look at him now. Mm-hmm. He had a great Euros with the under-21s, which they won. And then he's just come on leaps and bounds since then.
He's been brilliant.
Before, yeah, exactly.
And now he's back in the England squad as well. He's dislodged Grealish, Rashford. I think he's been outstanding, the 2 of them. I just think it's a bit disappointing about Botman's injuries this season as well, because he looked fantastic last season.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
who then between Gordon and Bruno?
Well, I think that's sort of falls to you then, Cam, unless you've got a wild card.
Well, I mean, no, I agree with him, but I would, even though Gordon won our Player of the Year, which I'm not going to argue with Bruno. I still think Bruno was the best player because I think you don't always see what he does. He doesn't necessarily get the assists or goals that Gordon did, but you can see when he's having maybe he's not quite on it, we don't look as good.
He's our
and in
Rodri.
that period when we had to play him every game, as Mick said, I don't think he had a game where he had below a 7 out of 10 game the whole season. Really, he took that on himself, and I think he actually showed he's probably a bit too good for that squad, in all honesty, which is why there's a lot of sort of transfer rumours about him and things like that. Well, a lot of teams that want him don't want to pay for him, but they want him. So
Man
for
City
me,
are pulling out
he
now.
was the best player. I think they were very smart, Newcastle, in saying that the fee had to be paid by the end of June, because they know that all the other Premier League clubs, that means it goes against last year's accounts, and they know none of them are going to have 100 million sitting just to spend on last year's accounts. Maybe in July they'll have it. So it was a kind of deal to say, if you're a foreign club that doesn't have that, you could come and pay that for them. But if you're an English club, you're really going to be, tight on PSR if you try and spend 100 million on this guy. I think it was a fuck off. We don't want to sell him. I think buy out close, to be honest.
I think with Bruno, whether he's too big for the club or not, whether he needs to move on, it really depends on what you guys are planning on doing this summer, because he was really the first one to take a punt on that project. He was the first sort of, I know Trippier came in at the same time and Pope, but he was the marquee signing of that first sort of window that the Saudis had, and really he needs to see that the team's being built around him to be at his level if he's going to stay. And Tonali was part of that, Isak was part of that, Botman was part of that, but there's a lot more holes to fill in that squad to get to
Gordon's part
his
of
level. So he is now, but I don't think he would have been sold on that at the time. If you're talking to Bruno and saying, if you're talking to Bruno and saying stay with us, we're bringing Anthony Gordon in, I don't think he's going to be like, oh yeah, brilliant, can't wait for this.
No, I think that's why we're looking at a marquee right winger.
Yeah.
For this summer, and I don't know, it might be Nico Williams. That's his name.
That would be a big signing if you pulled that one off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who does he play for?
So
Bilbao.
It's Bilbao. He's in the Spanish team for the Euros. He looks really good. He's only 21.
What's the reported transfer fee for him sitting at the moment?
Probably about 50, 60.
More than that.
That's the reported fee.
We were
50, 60 million.
interested in Alisi, who looks like he's going to Chelsea, and he was about 60, so that's not that crazy to imagine that we could go for that.
Yeah. Obviously, Lloyd Kelly's over the line now, which I think is a good bit of business.
If I'm Bruno, I'm seeing that and I'm signing right away.
But I think for Bruno, he'll be disappointed we didn't get Europe this year. But I think if we don't get Europe next year, Bruno might go. I think he needs to be playing in Europe. I don't think necessarily
the other thing for him as well, he's not a young player anymore, is he?
No, he's 26.
And so he's moving in. He's moving into the prime, and he'll probably look at the other Bruno Fernandes, who's been at United for those prime years and hasn't had the team around him to really do anything. And he's probably weighing that up as well.
Bruno Fernandes has still got how many trophies to his name now?
He's got a couple, but he's not got the big ones. He's not got the big ones, so.
No, but not everyone does get the big ones. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Do you want to follow your question then, Dave?
I was just going to say, who surprised you this year for Newcastle?
You can go first, Cam.
I think you've got to say Gordon, because I think last year we weren't that I think you and I both agreed, we're like, why are we going for Anthony Gordon? I didn't like him when he played for Everton. He was a wee prick. So I wasn't that keen on
Still is a wee prick. He's just a wee prick.
He's our wee prick.
I kind of thought Barnes, we Gordon coming on as a sub. I just thought maybe he's got potential in the future, but I just don't think it's going to be any time soon. I wasn't that convinced by him, and this year it's just his attitude. Like I'm coming, like he got offered to have an extra week's holiday because he was at the under-21s, and he said no, I want to come back and get fit. And I think just that attitude, right from day one, saw him through the rest of the season. And I think he's quite mentally strong, Gordon. So he's impressed me this year, and I didn't think he would. So I would say he's the most improved player for us. Mick.
He's asked the most surprised. Who were you most surprised about? Not most improved.
Well, again, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Because I never expected it. So so I'm surprised.
Lewis Miley.
Yeah, fair enough.
17-year-old stepped into the role. He was outstanding when he played. Champions League against PSG, Dortmund, never looked out of place at all. Brilliant. Really good. That's the surprise for me.
Miley versus Mainu, wasn't there? Who's going to be better? We've kind of got that answer now.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Miley has got himself an injury and they don't want to risk him. They've just dropped him completely because it's a back injury. So they just said, no matter how desperate we were, you're not playing the rest of this season because they don't want him, you know.
Yeah. And I think as well, with that, obviously I was banging the drum for Mainu. He's a year or two older, but he's played the same amount of minutes.
I think he's only a year.
What I would say is they're two, as the seasons went on, they're two very different players, I think. Mainu is much more of a box-to-box, whereas Miley he comes into the box late, I think. But what has happened as the season's gone on is that Mainu's come up with a couple of sort of crucial, already iconic moments in terms of deciding big games, which I don't think we've really seen from Miley yet.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
I think
again, you've got to think
could be in the same team together
at the time as well.
Yeah,
they would be
in the future.
England's centre mids, them two.
Yeah, 5 years from now, that's a good-looking midfield with Adam Wharton behind him.
Yeah. Yes, I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
Okay, so my next question would be, what was your high point and low point of this season?
High point
first. You go first.
Playing Champions League football again after 20 years. That's a high point, really, isn't it? Beating PSG at home, but not just beating them, absolutely smashing them 4-1.
That was a hell of a game to watch.
That was my high point as well, so I'll just add that, and that's 100%. You know, we battered them, and it was just amazing to watch.
Low point to the way we missed out on European football was a low point.
Finishing
in the top 7,
it's taken away from me,
and losing it because a team outside the top 7 won their FA Cup. Mention no names.
I just think it was a tactical masterclass from Ten Hag to engineer that to inflict the maximum psychological damage on Newcastle. I think
Well, I think you should get an 8-year contract for that.
It would be nice.
Yeah, I'd be happy with
That's
that.
all we'll talk about Man United for today, though.
I would kind of agree, but I would be more specific and say the actual game that we lost against Man United, the poor performance. I just feel that we didn't turn up. That was the biggest game of the season at that point. We had to be up for it, and I just didn't feel we were up for it. We looked tired. We looked a bit nervous, you know, in the game. And I just didn't think we were good enough. And so that was
away from all season.
I genuinely felt we could have got a draw at least. We should have got a draw at least the way you guys were playing. You weren't play. It's not as if you played as well against us in that game as you did against City in the FA Cup final. No. You didn't.
It was an improvement over the couple of weeks that had gone before, but we still should have been there for the taking that night, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we missed chances. We
had our chances to do it.
Too many soft goals. We just didn't play well. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, my next question was you kind of already answered. Although I was going to say what was your favorite win and loss, but you've answered that with PSG and United. Nobody
No,
likes losing to United.
my worst loss is getting beat off Forest 3-0 at home. That's horrible. You just
Yeah, true. They're the ones you don't expect to be thrashed by. Like we got destroyed by Wolves.
getting beat off Luton.
Yeah, that was a tough one to take. But they played great that game.
They did play great during parts of the
couldn't
season.
keep
It's
up.
just they had such a poor end to the season that we just kind of forget how threatening it could be.
I think they played really well in that period, but that result against Newcastle, and I think they got a draw against Chelsea. That was really the only results
That
they
was
got
like the
for all
peak
they
of
were
the
playing really
season,
well at
wasn't
that.
it? At that point, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, we didn't even get a draw against
the
us.
The best win would definitely be PSG, and then you've got obviously Sheffield United 8-0.
Oh yeah, God, that felt a long time ago.
It was against Sheffield United. Like it wasn't to me as good as like
Yeah, but
smashing
when-
Spurs 6-1
You
or
don't-
whatever. we
yeah,
did
even a bad
last
team, you
year
don't
because it
usually
was Spurs.
smash.
Yeah, no, but still,
No.
you go
And
away
ain't
from
no
home
need
when
to be
you're away.
celebrated.
Your away
Like that.
record's absolutely atrocious, and you go away from home and win 8-0. So it's still kind of good.
You were the
Yeah,
only
well,
team
it's,
to put 8 goals past them all season, so
Yeah,
A lot of teams tried.
yeah.
yeah. Hit 13 past them all together.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think the only other thing is I'm assuming you guys are both Eddie Howe in still, but where do you guys
Oh,
think
of
you need to
course.
focus for next season? You say you want a right winger. Who else do you need to bring in? Do you think?
Left back, centre back. Obviously, I know we're getting Lloyd Kelly on a free, but we need another centre back. Lloyd Kelly is an upgrade on Dummett leaving. He's probably an upgrade on Dan Burn as well. But we need another centre back because with Botman and
Because of the
Lascelles
injuries.
both being out until the new year, then Shaw's
I
aging
don't
now.
think
His
Lascelles
legs
will
are
be
starting to
back.
go. Nah, I don't think he'll
honest.
play again. But then you've
by
got
the time
Shaw,
he
who's
does come
aging.
back, yeah.
That's why we went for Torsen, but then Chelsea decided to stick their nose in.
You know, and
We've been after
to
him
be
for
fair,
ages.
he's a Chelsea fan that used to be at Chelsea, so you know you can kind of understand it. But you know, it would have been great to get him in, a quality player for free. But I think we're going to have to buy one now.
Yeah.
So I think even though we've got Kelly in, we need a right centre back. But the
Right
most
centre-back.
important position for us is right wing this
Yeah.
year because Miggy's not good enough, and really
Murphy's good
Murphy's
enough
not
for-
good enough to start. He's good enough to come
Yeah.
on and do something
he's a squad
different in the
player.
game or fill in when somebody's injured. But as like
See,
your top team, he's not good enough.
this is what Eddie Howe's done. He's done really well. He's brought on the likes of Joe Linton. He got a tune out of Miggy for a while. He's made Murphy a much better player than what he was under Bruce and Benitez. We need another striker as well. Whether Wilson stays or whether he goes, we need another striker because we can't
finance
we
a new
can't-
striker.
yeah.
You know.
we can't rely on him being back up to Isaac.
With the
Yeah, and we
with the
can't
striker,
rely
have
on
you
Isaac
guys
just being fit.
have you guys got anyone in the academy that might break through in that then?
Not that
The
I
only
know
one
of.
that I can think of us having for right wing is Minter,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah,
could
he's
be
not
just
really-
loaning
he's
him
not
back
really-
out
we
again.
couldn't- Yeah, I mean I think that makes sense just to loan him back. I know there was talk of people maybe try to get him for 20 million. I'm just not sure
40.
how that benefits us. It's better to send him in loan to like Germany, see if he can do what he did in Holland and Germany, and then he's worth double that. You know.
Well,
So-
we're going to keep him through pre-season. He's going on the tour to Japan to see how he does there. Then
So's cool
from
though,
there.
and he's been rubbish in his loan periods.
he's
so-
been really unlucky with the loans that he's had. He's supposed to be such a really good talent as well, but
He
He's
doesn't
not
even get
cutting it
the
at the
Australia
minute.
team though, does he?
What?
he was in the
doesn't get-
Australian team.
Was
He
it?
was an
Yeah.
Australian team. I don't know if he still is. And he scored
I
goals
don't
for
know if he
Australia,
still is.
but against teams that Australia play in their local, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the lowest
Well, they've
ranked.
just finished their World Cup
Union of
qualifying
football.
group, and they finished with a record of 22 goals for and 0 against. but that was against I think it was like Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Lebanon. So
yeah, not exactly world renowned.
All respect to those great nations of football.
We haven't exactly got anyone in that striker position to come in.
I think it's a young person we need, a young prospect, not as expensive as like a Hoyland or something like that, but someone.
But if Wilson goes, then we need somebody who can step straight in. That's why we're looking at the likes of, is it Grassi or whatever you call him?
I've not heard there's been linked.
There was him.
With him.
Obviously, Calvert-Lewin, which I would just say no, thank you.
No, I don't want him. That's just might jump out the frying pan.
You might be lucky, and he might dovetail nicely with Wilson in the treatment room, one in, one out sort of thing.
Yeah, but I don't think we could afford to bring in ECL and keep Wilson as well. I think if we bring in a striker, it has to be Wilson needs to go at his age, because every year you keep him, you're going to lose a bit more value on him as well. He's probably not worth that much as it is. So I think you need to kind of try and cash in and use that to get his replacement. But I wouldn't want it to be DCL. I mean, if he signs and he keeps fit and scores goals for us, I'll be like, wow, I was wrong. Great. I've got nothing against the guy. He is a good player, but he's a sick note, and that's not what you need to replace a sick note.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, exactly.
Anthony Martial is available on a free transfer.
That's another one I would like to say. No, thank you.
It sounds like we might be getting rid of Fofana up front. He didn't really
be
get
a decent shout, yeah.
Yeah, and he's not injury prone, so he was all right for Burnley, but not.
He scored that absolute banger of a goal, didn't he? But
yeah.
Who's that kid that you are going to let go, Dave? That you don't want to? What's his name again?
Brozier.
Oh, Brozier. Yeah. Well,
no, not him. No.
You talking about Colwell?
Really youngster. He's in your academy.
What am I on about? I don't know.
Don't they even have an academy anymore? I thought they just bought.
Our academy is our first team, isn't it?
It's RC Strasbourg in France, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry.
Do you know who I would like us to go for? Is it I can't remember who plays for Buema? Is that how you say his name?
Buema. What, for Brentford?
Yeah. I think he can play up front and he can play right wing, and I think he's a good player.
He stepped in
Brentford were a better team with him in, and they looked poor when he wasn't playing, and he caused a lot of team troubles. And I don't think he'd be massively expensive. So I
think he would, because Tony aside, he's Brentford's main guy. So I think he'd cost a lot of money to be used as that sort of.
Trying to buy Tony.
No. But it costs a lot of money to buy him as that sort of utility player. He would be a good free transfer, I think, but I don't know that he would be worth spending 50 million on, which is what Brentford would ask for.
I think we might be going for that Diamande, or whatever you call him, the centre back. Is it from Sporting?
I've never heard of him.
Diamande.
No.
I don't know, but Sporting have done all right. Was he involved much of Sporting this year or not?
Yeah. He was one of the starting centre backs.
As a centre back, we're not looking for a kid centre back. We're looking for someone that could step in and replace Shah. So it must be something decent. But I haven't seen him play.
What's the goalkeeper situation? Because there's talks of the Dubravka leaving. Yeah, there's strong links to
Trafford's on his way in.
What a season!
Billy as well.
I'm not that impressed by it, but I think they're looking at the future. They're looking at cover for Pope, but Pope's still going to be the number one. I think that's the way they're looking at it. When we were,
he's going to be the study.
I can't say his name, Masher Ville. You were thinking he's not going to come and sit on the bench and watch Pope play if we're going to spend 30 million on him. That doesn't make much sense, but I can kind of see that Trafford might, and Pope being 30, he might think, all right, I've got a chance here. But how often does that happen? How often do you bring in a young second keeper and then they end up replacing your top keeper? It doesn't happen. Usually they sit on the bench for a few years and then it's buy a new one, and the young guy goes, "Oh, I thought it was I'm leaving now," and they go.
It's very much a sort
Chelsea,
of
Arsenal.
Yes, it happened to both.
Doesn't happen often though.
if you buy him as a number 2, he's either going to sit on the bench all year and not develop at all,
But the thing is,
Pope's going to get injured, and he'll be thrust in and he won't be ready because he showed that at Burnley. And I don't think either works for him. What you ideally want to do is if you could get him
do what he does at Burnley, though. Like Burnley, and this is why I'm not convinced in Company as a manager. Company's like, no, I don't care how much you're getting pressed. I want you to pass it out for the back. And after Trafford making so many mistakes, Company's like, no, next week you're still doing the same thing.
And he's probably
principle. How wouldn't do that?
He's probably rubbing his hands that he's got Manuel Neuer to do that now. But Manuel Neuer is not as good as he used to be at that.
No. But what we're worried about is Pope's injuries. He's had 2 very serious shoulder injuries in the past couple of years. So obviously bringing him in, he's only 21, Trafford, and he does look a very good player, goalkeeper, to be honest.
No,
but it has. So
I don't think he did last season.
Say the same thing happens this year.
He was in
this is half the season. Would you guys be comfortable with Trafford being in goal for that half a season if Pope injures himself?
Yes.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
But, he may surprise me.
He's got potential, but, I mean...
If you look at it,
Burnley improved without him.
Look at him for England under 21s.
Palmer rates him. Palmer
loved him, yeah. He even turned around. Did you see the video of him before
when he saves a penalty?
He turned around and went, he's going to save this. And he saved it. He went, what I tell you don't understand how good this guy is.
That's the most excited I've ever seen Palmer.
I think it would make sense to get Trafford if you could loan him to the Championship for a year and see how he gets on. But spending...
Only if we keep Dubravka, but there's teams circling for Dubravka.
Celtic are after him.
Yeah.
But, it's also the money involved.
Some money for him, great.
The money involved, you're looking at spending more on Trafford than Burnley spent on him a year ago, and his value ought to be considerably lower now. I think you could probably afford to wait a year, see how he gets on with Burnley in the Championship, and then make your move. But
but his value is only going to go. I don't know.
Or buy him and loan him back to Burnley.
Then we would have to keep Dubravka for this season. I mean, I think the idea is they want Dubravka and they want someone else that's younger.
The thing is, though,
I think that's the
how
idea.
How long we had Dubravka now? 6-7 years. So anything we get off him is pure profit.
Yeah,
anything we get from Almiron's pure profit.
Oh, pure profit. Music to my ears.
Yeah, use no pure profit when you go and sell your hotels.
I hate
this. You could take advantage.
I'm surprised you guys aren't linked.
Just kept giving everybody a new deal.
I'm surprised you aren't linked with a move for Aaron Ramsdale, to be honest, because there's clearly going to be a deal to be done for someone there.
Well,
and I know he's not as good as he was when he started at Arsenal, but there's still enough of a player there to sort of.
We were linked with him.
Then you need to get rid of Pope because he's not going to sit on the bench. He's not going to. I don't want to sit on the bench at Arsenal. I'll go and sit on the bench at Newcastle. And if you come in and say you're number 1, Pope's going to go right transfer. So you're back to only having one keeper. You need two.
I mean, he's ahead of Pope in the England pecking order, I think. Although
the only reason he's ahead of him is because of the injury that Pope's just had.
Well, no, but I think even when Pope's been fit, he's never really got a look in.
Yeah, Pope had a shot with England and he made a mistake, and I think Gareth Southgate thought, "Oh, you've made a mistake. You're out the England squad," because that's the way people treat goalkeepers. They make one mistake, and that's then finished for their career, supposedly.
It's as well. Pickford's so dependable for him as well. You've got to.
Oh yeah.
It's going to take something special to get rid of him, but
Pickford's had a great year as well.
Yeah, he has had a good year. Maybe we should have went for Pickford.
Fuck that.
How old is Pickford now?
He's 30.
Fly.
30.
Yeah. He still looks about 12, but he
can't. Never swear at me again.
No, I know. He wouldn't even go into the home dressing room.
So on the subject of Jordan Pickford, just to go off on a complete tangent, obviously England had the friendly at St James's Park the other week.
Yeah.
And I had the mascots out like they normally do, and Kieran Trippier got to bring his kid out as a mascot, which I can get. You know, he's a Newcastle player. It's in Newcastle. He's the captain of England for that night. Jordan Pickford got to bring his son out as a mascot, and it's like I don't really get why he's afforded that luxury because he's not. You know, he's a Mackham. It's sort of why does Jordan Pickford?
You know,
He wanted
Why
his
did-
son to see a proper stadium.
Though. They're not there to watch.
Why does
Newcastle,
Jordan
they're there
Pickford
watch
want to
England.
expose his son to St James's Park? Because that's surely just going to turn his head at an impressionable age, and he's not going to go up and do the sport anymore.
This is what a proper stadium looks like, son. Now get back to the shithole down the road.
I mean, there was the reports that Pickford, I think it was meant that he wouldn't go into the home dressing room, and he went into the wrong dressing room. I don't think he's that stupid. I think he did that
On
so
purpose.
that there would be some
Course he
press
did.
about it, because you know what he's like. He likes to wind up that he's anti-Newcastle. He loves it. So
Yeah.
But that's the same with all Sunderland fans. That's what they live for. They wind up Newcastle. They don't have any other purpose in life. So Pickford can't get that out of his head. Even though he doesn't play for Sunderland, he's an Everton and the England keeper. He's still probably thinking, what can I do to annoy Newcastle in every moment of his life.
We're done with new strip reveal last week. I mean, all it was Sunderland fans going, that looks like our strip when we're in League One. Yeah, it's stripes, just like yours. Apart from ours is black and yours are red. Of course it does. That's all they were going on about. It looks like ours. It's just balmy.
Do you both have the same manufacturer on it?
No.
Why would it
actually? I think did they have Adidas as well? I think they had Adidas.
Maybe when they were in the Premier League, I can't see.
No,
Adidas.
in League One they had Adidas. I'm sure of it.
If on a deal, but yeah, I feel
Maybe
like
they paid
manufacturers could get
Adidas to make that.
Yeah, I mean they do just sort of take the one kit and change the colours on it now, don't they? Both. Adidas
Yeah, I
and
mean
Nike.
when we were with Nike, and our kits always looked similar to Spurs, but just a different colour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
You don't get much variation these days.
I think then that's everything that there is to talk about this week. Obviously, yeah, we've got the Euro starting on Friday, Germany versus Scotland. Please do put your predictions in on the UEFA website. The link and the invite code will be in the description to see how you match up against us, and we will speak to you next week after the first round of fixtures.
It's coming home.
Let's go.